Welcome to the Increda-dental podcast. I'm your host, Alicia Flynn. Our goal is to make a positive impact in the dental field. I have been a dental assistant, a biller, an office manager, a scheduler, a hygienist, and a dental coach, which makes me your biggest fan. My husband was in the military and we traveled all over the United States. I had opportunities to work in many different practices, and I saw incredible practices and practices that had a lot of potential within them. Thank you for joining us. Let's dive into the podcast. Welcome to Increda-dental podcast. I'm your host, Alicia Flynn. Today, we're diving into a book called The Power of Moments, written by Chip Heath and Dan Heath. And they speak about how we can make moments more powerful, more memorable, and it will build connection. And they showed how this can be also addressed for the first day of working at a company. And this can be applied in your dental practice or your medical practice. So if you're having problems retaining employees, this episode is especially for you. Now, they looked at John Deere, a world-renowned company. John Deere needed to change how they were onboarding employees. Even though they're world-renowned, they were having problems retaining employees that were not in the U.S. So they started to evaluate what they could do different. And they decided it started with the first day. And this can be you also. So we'll dive into John Deere's story, and then we'll give you ideas to make your employees who you hire their first day more memorable, more impactful, so they have a stronger connection with your team, but also with you as an employer. So this is what they did. When a new hire accepts an offer, they receive a welcome email, not from HR, but from a specific employee that they will be working with, a specific coworker that they'll have connection with. They included a short video. And in that video, they explained where to park, what the dress code was, lunch options, software, how to log in, and they even gave a short tour of the facility. Now, when the new employee arrived for the first day, that same employee, that coworker who sent that email, was there waiting for them and introduced them. They showed them around. They took them to the workspaces, to where they placed their materials, their bags and things, and they ensured that they felt comfortable. Now, when the new hire logs in, they get to meet with a John Deere mission statement. Now, I thought that was really cool. They made sure that they knew what the mission statement was for the company, for John Deere. Plus, they got an email from the CEO reinforcing the company's goal and their values, but also welcoming them to their company. Now, at midday, coworkers take them out to lunch, sharing their own journeys, but also their projects. And later, their manager schedules another lunch to check in. By the end of the day, the new hire feels valued, seen, and important. And John Deere nailed onboarding. And in turn, they nailed employee retention. So how can this relate to you? Well, let's look at the first day typically for a healthcare worker. You park where you think you're supposed to park. You walk in through the front door because you don't know where the side door or back door is. And sometimes if you go to the back door or side door, it's locked anyways, so it doesn't really matter. And then you just head to the back, hoping to find a place, a locker to put your articles. And maybe you ask someone where it is. And then you start walking around trying to figure out where you're supposed to go. And sometimes you'll find someone, maybe a lead assistant or up front, and you'll just ask, what operatory am I supposed to work in? And they point you, say, follow this person around. And you just start opening up drawers and trying to figure out where things are and how you're going to get through this day. You look at the software for the computer. Sometimes you're happy because you know it. Other times you're like, oh my goodness, I don't know this software. And you're also feeling frustrated and a little bit of high blood pressure from that. Does that sound familiar? Unfortunately, this experience is all too common in medical and dental practices, but it doesn't have to be that way. So how can we pivot? How can we change to make this more powerful, more impactful, and gain employee retention? Here are a few ideas. When an employee accepts to start to work with you, that they get an email welcoming them to the team. And in that email, I encourage you to have a picture of the team or a picture of the person who they're going to work with the most. But if you can, even a short video. And it shows them where to park, where to store their personal items, how to log into the computer, and sometimes a brief tour, but usually most employees have had a small tour before then. So those are items to start with connection. But then when the employee comes for their first day, assign a team member, preferably the one that was they're going to work with the most, but also that was featured in the video, to greet them and to show them around, to walk them around the office, to be their partner in crime, but more so the partner in success. And then when it comes to lunchtime, I encourage you to have a small lunch with the team together. Now, this doesn't have to be fancy. This can be sandwiches. This can be pizza. Check and see if your new hire has a gluten allergy or any other allergies, but find out how you can help them to feel connected. And then even a personal gift. If you have some swag, if you will, that is like a coffee mug or a water bottle with your logo on it, put some flowers in it and give it to the new hire. Let them know we're excited for you. It's stressful to come to a new practice, but to give them a gift when they're not expecting it makes them feel surprised and delighted. And then have clear communication for check-ins. You need to make sure that if you're the sole practice, if you're the owner, the dentist, or if it's managed by another company, or if you have section heads, that they have opportunities to check in with whoever is their lead and that they can ask questions at the beginning. This needs to happen daily, just so that way they can get all their questions answered. And then you can slowly back off to weekly. But they need to get the answers that they're seeking, but they need to be the right ones. Now, why does this matter? You have to understand the cost of onboarding. And sometimes you think, I don't have time to do all these little extra things. I'm just too busy. But if we understand how much time it costs and also the financial impact of losing an employee, we're more likely to make time because it matters. So is what Google says is it takes 44 days to find a new employee to replace someone. And then to actually onboard them and have them up to speed, it takes 3 to 6 months. So that's quite a bit of time investment there. Now let's talk numbers. Replacing an employee costs about 1.5 times their annual salary. So if you have a hygienist who's making $60,000 a year, the cost to replace them is going to be around $90,000. If you have another employee who's making around $40,000, the cost to replace them will be around $60,000. So look at your current onboarding process. How can you make it more impactful? Ask your team how they can support new hires. Get ideas from them. The time you invest upfront will save you time and money and frustration down the road. Winning a new hire doesn't take much, but it takes intention. It takes powerful moments to prepare for success. I encourage you to read this book, The Power of Moments, because you can apply it to the new patient experience, to your regular patients, and to your employees, even to your family. So it has a great way from an average day to becoming a powerful day. And that's what I want for you. I want you to have powerful days. My goal is your success.